Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being with us today. As you can see, we have a team of folks here from the federal government, the state government, and certainly the county and city government. So I'm going to introduce to you those that are going to speak and the other members that were part of this extensive investigation. Mark Brutnell from FDLE will speak. We were also joined by Central Florida HIDA, who's not here today. Statewide prosecutions is represented, certainly our Attorney General. We're so excited that he's with us today, General James Uthmeier, and he will speak first. Of ATF, federal government, was here, but they're not here. Was with us, but they're not at the operation today. The Auburndale Police Department Chief Terry Story's with us. He's not going to speak. State Attorney's Office, my State Attorney Brian Haas, who simply is the very best, is here, and he's going to speak. Medical Examiner's Office was involved in this investigation. DEA was involved in this investigation. They're not here today. The Winter Park Police Department, we are honored that Chief Tim Volkerson is with us today. Pasco Sheriff's Office is not here, but they worked with us. U.S. Marshals, Deputy Commander Diamond is here. He's not going to speak, but once again, we can't do this without our federal partners as well as our state partners. Florida Highway Patrol, Sergeant Steve Gaskins, Sergeant Malloy, and Trooper Jeremy Fields are here today. They had a really important part in this operation, and certainly the Florida Department of Corrections, their intelligence team. So after introducing all of them, you can see that no one person, no one organization can do an investigation of this size. It's just impossible. But when we all work together, good things happen. This investigation began in April of 2025, and it culminated with 2 court-ordered wire intercepts at the end of the year. This is an organized gang, and this is gang members, and they're not all from the same, actually members from different gangs, but it's an organized criminal. That's why you'll see that we're charged RICO in a lot of these. We focused on trafficking in fentanyl and trafficking in methamphetamine. As a result of this investigation and thousands of investigative hours, we made 51 arrests. We charged 10 with racketeering. There were 78 pounds of meth seized, 14.55 pounds of fentanyl, enough, as you can see, to kill 3,300,000 people. 13 firearms were seized, $20,000 in cash. We did a drug roundup that began on January the 30th, and part of these 51 arrests occurred with 32 warrants being attempted, and we served all but 5. There are 5 folks that are still wanted. You see them on the board here. Those 5 suspects, even though they're at large, they won't stay at large. We will find them. But it's important, and I highlight in the reason for this entire operation, fentanyl are killing people across this county, this state, and this nation just as sure as someone putting a gun to our victim's head and shooting them in the head. So that's why we're here. We're of one heart and we're of one beat as we go after these fentanyl traffickers. Today we're going to, as they say in the gang world, lace you up. We're going to talk about the gangbangers who are selling this poison and who won't sell this poison any longer. Let me explain that Operation Flatline was the second T3 or wire intercept, but I'm going to speak briefly about it first so that you will understand how urgent what we do is. And then I'm going to turn it over to the Attorney General and the other speakers. But it's important to understand that these, Terry Morris, who's 50 years of age, is dead. He got his drugs from a guy who goes by the name of Knowledge. Angela Valente, who's 42, is in a nursing home, unconscious, since she overdosed in mid-December, and the indication that she's ever going to recover. Dante Trentneoff is 21. He's dead. He's from Haines City. He died in his bedroom. The drug was supplied by Knowledge. Madeline Smith, 21. She died at the hospital from a drug overdose from drugs she got from Knowledge. I was actually at the hospital and saw them trying to save Madeline's life. However, that didn't happen. Folks, I want you to look at this. This is someone's grandchildren. This is someone's children. This is someone's and sister. These are real people that these folks are killing with their trafficking in fentanyl. And that's why we're here. So who is Knowledge? Knowledge is William Newton Jr. He's 39. He's from Winter Haven. He's currently on probation for sale of cocaine. Did you hear what I said? He's already on probation for sale of cocaine while he's out dealing in fentanyl. We also have him under investigation, as you may understand, for murder. He has new charges of sale of fentanyl that we filed, trafficking in cocaine, trafficking in fentanyl, violation of probation. But I want to talk to you a minute about the quickest T3 or wire intercept the Sheriff's Office has ever done. It may be one of the quickest ones ever done across the state or the United States. And I want to brag Brian Haas and his team. So we're in the middle of what we call Operation Bloodline, doing this investigation, and all of a sudden, mid-November, 1st of December, people are falling over dead. These folks, they are in serious shape. Others that we've not even listed here went to the hospital and recovered. But all of a sudden, we have this real upsurge of fentanyl overdoses. We do something that I hope is not unique. Not only do we send our homicide team out to do the death investigations, but we send a narcotics team out to work with them. So we immediately, through our homicide detectives and our narcotics detectives, determined that William Newton was applying the fentanyl. So we tried to go undercover and arrest him. He's too smart for that. You see, he's been to Florida State Prison for trafficking in cocaine on a minimum mandatory before. He has 8 previous felony charges. 8 previous arrests, 7 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. So we had to do something proactively and quickly to figure out how to stop him from dealing this fentanyl, because he was killing people. We were watching them die before our very eyes. And that's when Nicole Orr, who's one of the directors for State Attorney Haas, received permission and immediately did a T3 order. We literally went up on this order on a Thursday. It was written just as quickly as we could get the data together. By Sunday, we went down on this order, and we caught that quick. Brian Haas and his state attorneys, our detectives, saved untold lives because we did a proactive T3 in order to stop this guy from spreading all of this horribleness throughout this county. Make no mistake about it. Lives have been saved because of the hard work of our undercover detectives, who are the very best. Now, It's important to understand that that is only part of the investigation. I will end with my flashcards. Said if I didn't have flashcards, okay? After we hear from our speakers, first I want to introduce James Uthmeier. He is the Attorney General for the state of Florida. He simply is the very best. He works every day with his team in order to save lives, prosecute bad guys, and make Florida, the state of Florida, the best place to live. We turn to him and to our state attorney, Brian Haas, who I will introduce second, immediately. And what we receive is yes, yes, and yes, let's prosecute them, let's hold them accountable. As you'll hear later on, if these people aren't locked up, they're selling drugs and killing people. This Attorney General and his team make sure that we lock them up for just as long as we can. So it's an honor, General, that you join us today. So let me turn the podium over to you.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Sheriff. It's great to be back in Polk County. I was recently in the Atlanta airport on a flight back to Tallahassee. A woman came up, asked me where I was from, didn't know who I was. I told her Florida, and she said, it's really what's going on in Florida. The leaders and what you guys are doing to drive down crime rates is incredible. And I said, yeah, I hear they've got a good attorney general. She's like, yeah, I don't know anything about that guy, but this sheriff you guys have down there, Grady Judd, fantastic. She says, I don't know why anybody would be dumb enough, to commit crimes in Polk County. I said, well, if they had any wits about them, I don't think they'd be committing crimes at all. Here in Polk County, we send a message to law enforcement and your investigators when you have their backs, when you give them the tools to be successful. We have results like today. This is one of the biggest gang takedowns over the last year. And you can see from what was seized here, it's not small stuff. You've got enough meth and fentanyl to kill millions, over a dozen firearms, thousands of dollars of cash. These guys were not doing just street level drug dealing. This was advanced trafficking. RICO. We're going to go after these guys with everything we've got. We're going to throw the book at them. These charts, these are career criminals. The sheriff said it right. If they're back on the streets, they're doing drugs, and people are losing. So investigators and law enforcement that took these guys down, they put their lives on the line every single day to keep our streets safe and to get all this stuff out of our communities. So we're going to keep sending a message. In our office, I think the state attorney's got similar results. We've had record arrest convictions and sentences over the last year, and that correlates perfectly with a decreasing crime rate. It's not complicated. People up that are dangerous for a long time, crime rates go down. We send a message. It's good to be here today. You got a wonderful state attorney. I think we've got over 51 arrests here. We'll be working with him to split these things up and prosecute to the full. Thank you.
Our state attorney, Brian Haas, is remarkable. We talk almost every day of the week about strategies. Who are we going to put in jail? How long can we keep them in jail? Can you help on the T3? And his answer, some sheriffs from around the state, around the country, to work with our state. That doesn't happen here. It's nice to have a state attorney's office and Brian Haas as our state attorney and his team that instead of looking for ways not to prosecute cases, look for ways to prosecute cases. So if you want, you look at General Uthmeier and you look at us, our state attorney, the state attorney, because they understand that we are concerned about the safety and security of the overall majority of the people in this state, and we're not worried about the criminals except when they're not locked up. These guys do the very best. Mr. Haas?
Thank you, Sheriff. I think it's important to start with acknowledgement and thanks to all law enforcement who was involved with this. These are not easy operations. They're high risk, very stressful, and what an amazing everyone involved with this has done. It starts at the top with Sheriff Judd and the leadership that he gives, and everyone bringing everyone together. And you read these reports, and you can just picture how, because these are bad people that we're pursuing. This is not just some kind of academic. This is for real. And I think about the number, the quantity of drugs that were found here, and the circumstances that led to it. People who have been addicted or having a difficult time with substance abuse, and guys like Newton, they prey on those people. They know exactly what they're doing. They take advantage of the fact that people are having a hard time, and they exploit it for their own personal financial gain. And you just look at what a pathetic situation we had here with this guy, kids in his car, and just that he would put anyone in that type of situation is just troubling. So if you read through the reports, he was at this motel, that hotel, this place, that place. And I think our goal here is to give him a permanent address. That's going to be at the Florida State Prison. We have great laws in Florida. We have great judges here in the 10th Circuit. But if one of them decides that they're going to go light on this particular individual, we have mandatory minimums that are going to say otherwise. And it will ensure that this fellow is going to end up in prison for a long time. So I'll conclude with this. We've been here before. We're here today again. And right now, somewhere in Polk County or across the state of Florida, there's another Newton who's out there deciding to sell drugs, whatever it might be. My advice is find something else to do, because before you know it, you're going to be on one of these boards and you'll be headed to prison as well. Thank you.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Sheriff's Office here work hand in glove on operations almost not. I brag on them. They work closely with all law enforcement agencies a lot of their time. Our special agent in charge, Mark Britnell, is fantastic, and he's going to speak to you about the extra efforts that they bring to the table, not only through their remarkable investigators, detectives, special agents, but with other resources. Mr. Britnell?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sheriff. AG Uthmeier, Mr. Haas, thank you, guys. In charge for FDLE Tampa Bay. I'm proud to stand here today to announce the impressive results of this operation due to the hard work of investigators and analysts. These partnerships continue to lower the risk of fentanyl and gang violence endangering our communities. None of this would have been possible without the support of Governor DeSantis, General Uthmeier, and our legislatures continuing funding of the State Assistance for Fentanyl Eradication funding, also known as SAFE. Once again, the SAFE program has delivered. We stood here for years with the sheriff and other agencies across the state program. It works. As you see the numbers of arrests going up, deaths going up. It's here, and it is working. I'd also like to take a brief moment to highlight some of the amazing investigative techniques and tactics that were utilized by the agencies we see here today to completely dismantle this organization. Early on in the investigation, investigators conducted undercover purchases of methamphetamine. These purchases were ounces to 14 pounds. Think about 14 pounds of methamphetamine. Also, fentanyl undercover purchases were made. Again, 2 pounds of fentanyl. As the investigation proceeded, the team developed enough probable cause, as the sheriff mentioned, to initiate a Title III wiretap investigation with the goal of targeting the higher and completely crushing them as an organization. In the middle of that Title III, as they overdose. Agents immediately acted, identified the target, working side by side with the State Attorney's Office. An emergency order was authorized and initiated. Because of the vigilance and attention to detail, as the sheriff spoke about, William Newton was apprehended with over 6 and 1.5 pounds of cocaine. I can't underscore enough of the efficiency and the urgency displayed during that time. They saved lives. So on January 30th, and I'm sure the sheriff will talk about the roundup day, over 24 agencies came together to take down this organization. And as the sheriff spoke earlier, 78 pounds of methamphetamine, 14.5 pounds of fentanyl, 20,000 in cash, 13 firearms. When there's drugs, there's always firearms, and 51 total. As the sheriff spoke earlier as well, there's 5 members still currently at large. I have no doubt that there'll be a guest of Sheriff Judd's jail very soon. I just want to take the time to thank you to everyone that worked on this case, the team, all the analysts, agents, investigators, true team effort. This is a great, great case. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir. Before I start, I continue to see in articles across the state and nation about drugs are low level and nonviolent. I want you to look at this. Look at this gun. Look at these guns. Look at this fentanyl that enough to overdose and kill 3.3 million people. And the next time you hear someone suggest that drugs are low level and nonviolent, you too can clearly understand that they need mental health counseling. Because our actives are facing this kind of fire to bring these kind of custody. They're very, very, very dangerous people. And I'm about to go over the cards with. You'll understand when you see the cards why these people are very dangerous. They have guns and they don't mind using them. And I think it'll be interesting. Just flip through. I'm not going to try to make the lineage and tie all of that together. We can give you that through the PIOs. But I'm just going to give you a snapshot. This is Eric McCaskill. He's 36. He was released from the Florida State Prison in 2020, trafficking in meth. He was sentenced on a 3-year minimum mandatory. He drove the county with 14 pounds of meth. When he was arrested, he said, "Well, I knew not to mess around in Polk County," but he did, and he's caught. He is a gang member. He's charged with RICO with trafficking. And as State Attorney Haas said, what's important about these minimum mandatories? Because you can't listen to family members and sob stories and alligator tears and to go, "Well, heck, he's such a nice young man," and end up giving him 2 years. When what he is, he's a drug dealing person who's responsible for the deaths of folks. But he's got the other felonies, 26 misdemeanors, and 2 times, once for trafficking and once for fleeing arrest. And then there's Spencer Leonard, 37, in Bartow. He was released from Florida State Prison in 2020 for trafficking in heroin on a 5-year minimum mandatory when we went to arrest him. Now he's charged with RICO and trafficking in fentanyl. It's a 25-year minimum mandatory. He also has a criminal history of 12 felonies and 12 misdemeanors. He has been 2 other occasions. And you're going to hear this drumbeat. They've been to prison. They've been to prison. When they're not locked up, they're out peddling drugs and peddling violence. Stephen Jackson's 32. He's from Winter Haven. He's a gang member. He stole a kilo of fentanyl from an associate. That usually doesn't bode well for your life expectancy. We probably saved his life when we arrested him from being shot by another gangbanger. Traveled to California as a connection from the county to bring the drugs. He has criminal history, felony misdemeanors. He too has been to Florida State Prison on 2 different occasions. This is Umbuju Grant. He's 34. He's from Lakeland. He is second in command of this gang whose name we're not going to give. We have him charged currently with conspiracy to traffic in meth. He's 2 different occasions and 7 misdemeanors. If you don't think this guy won't point a gun in your face before quick, just think. Wells is 34. He's a meth supplier. We have him charged with RICO, trafficking meth. It's a 15-year minimum mandatory. Monitoring his phone calls, he was talking to man, my phone connection's bad. I guess maybe they're tapping my phone. He might have been a prophet also, because he was right. We were listening to his history, and he's known to be violent. And he down to run over a for occasion. He has a 15-year mid-man, so charged with attempted murder on law enforcement. A guy, he's got a criminal history. He doesn't want to go to jail. He's had previous drug arrests, resisting arrests, VOPs, fleeing. He has 35 felonies and 39 misdemeanor arrests. He's active committing crime. Joshua Pucklewarts, common spelling. He's 33 from Tampa. He's known as Tommy Boy Wayne. Well, if my last name was Pucklewarts, I'd probably go by Tommy Boy Wayne too. But he's really a popular rapper in Central Florida. He fled from the highway patrol. That didn't get him very far because they caught him. They crashed him into a bridge, or he crashed into a bridge. He had 11 pounds of meth. He's facing your mid-man, so he can rep his way all the way to state prison. This is Jamarian Young. He's known as the highest ranking member of the gang in Florida. They call him the landlord. He's charged with RICO, trafficking in fentanyl, trafficking in meth. They're 25-year mid-mans. But he did tell the detectives when we arrested him, hey, you all did a really good job. He's already 15 years state prison sentence for robbery with a firearm. And he's on. There's Jarrell Carr. Jarrell Carr's 35. He's from Mulberry. And Bruce Young. Bruce is 37 from Lakeland. Pay attention to this. He's from the Florida State Prison on the very same day he started negotiating the days after. Conspiracy to traffic, racketeering, 15. Newsflash, he's a gang member. He has a criminal history with 11 kidnapping for ransom, traffic, 21 misdemeanors. And then there's Jarrell Carr. He's known as Solid. He's a gang member. He was released from Florida State Prison in June. He was serving 7 years for a trafficking in meth. I forgot to say he was serving 7 years for trafficking in meth. He fled from the highway patrol, didn't do any good. They caught him because the highway patrol catches people they do. He was charged with racketeering, trafficking in fentanyl, trafficking in meth. He's got a 25-year mid-man. Look, folks, I want to end with this. These folks just got out of serving 7 years in prison for trafficking in drugs, and they're back trafficking in drugs. This is your poster child or poster children. If you don't lock these people up, they are going to commit crimes. They're prolific criminals. That is their career. That is their business. They're gang members. And they work together. They say one heart, one beat. But what you see here today is one heart, one beat to arrest all of them that are doing their best to kill folks like these people here. So with that, you have all the information that we have. God bless you. Have a good weekend.